May I start, sir? Yeah, good afternoon, friends. Welcome to this important press conference on 9-year achievements of the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions. I think in the last 9 years, many far-reaching, important, historic decisions have been taken in all the three departments of DOPT, DRPG and pensions. And Honorable Minister has rightly pointed out that those reforms are not only governance reforms or administrative reforms, but they have got wide-ranging social implications. So we are privileged and honored to have among us Dr. Jitendra Singh ji. A warm welcome to you, sir. We also have Madam S. Radha Chauhan, Secretary DOPT, Sri S.N. Mathur ji, Additional Secretary, Department of Pensions, Jaya Dubey ma'am, JS, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, and S.D. Sharma ji, JS DOPT. So the format of the PC will be like this. First, there will be 3 presentations about all the 3 departments, followed by brief introductory remarks by the Honorable Minister, and then the floor will be open for the question and answer session. So first, I request Sri S.D. Sharma ji to give his brief presentation about the achievements of the DOPT department.
Good afternoon. We are starting with Department of Personnel and Training. The first area is about capacity building reforms. The first item here is about the introduction of Assistant Secretaries Program, which was started in 2015 to provide young IAS officers a wider exposure in the working of central government, and more than 1,000 officers have already been benefited by this special opportunity. The second item is about the Common Foundation course, which has been introduced to instill the sense of esprit de corps amongst officers of various services. 1 week-long common mid-career training program has been launched, bringing officers from all India services and different central services with a view to break departmental and organizational silos. The third item is about the introduction of a new competency-linked Assistant Section Officer Foundation Training Program at ISTM, which was comprehensively reviewed for implementation as an intensive capacity building and foundational training program. The Capacity Building Commission has been established by Government of India on 1st April 2021 with a view to bring uniform approach in capacity building. The Capacity Building Commission has issued national standards for civil service training institutions. They are also setting up centers of excellence in every central training institutions and other training institutions. CBC is also helping all the ministries and departments and organizations in developing an annual capacity building plan. Shortly, a national training conclave is also being organized on 11th of June 2023. Continuing on capacity building reforms, Mission Karmyogi, a comprehensive capacity building program for civil services, has been launched with a paradigm shift from rule-based learning to role-based learning. With a view to implement this, a special purpose company, Karmyogi Bharat, has been incorporated as a 100% government-owned entity, which has operationalized iGot Karmyogi platform. On this platform today, we have more than 460 courses. We have more than 830 hours of content. More than 5 lakh users have been onboarded onto the platform. The courses include Microsoft courses, World Bank courses. More than 20 million learning minutes have been consumed. More than 58,000 Dakshta courses have been completed. Karmyogi Prarambh, a special online module of courses, has been launched to impart initial foundational induction training to the new recruits, which was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister on 22nd November 2022. iGot Karmyogi app has also been launched to provide anytime, anywhere learning. A digital learning lab has been established at ISTM in August 2021, which will further accelerate the process of e-learning. EHRMS 2.0, a comprehensive portal to deliver services seamlessly to all government officials, has been fully operationalized, and it will deliver all HR services to government employees. Coming to the welfare employees for the government, welfare measures for the government employees, the child care leave has been further liberalized to help women employees. The income limit has been enhanced for a creamy layer for OBCs from 6 lakhs to rupees 8 lakhs. Instructions have been issued for special allowance to women with disabilities at the rate of rupees 3,000 per month for childcare. Provisions have been made for leave up to a period of 90 days to an aggrieved female government servant in case of sexual harassment cases. Provisions have been made for special maternity leave of 60 days to women employees in case of stillbirth or death of a child soon after birth. Children education allowance for Divyang children have been doubled from rupees 27,000 to rupees 54,000 per annum. Provision of 42 days special casual leave has been made for organ donations. Central Civil Service leave rules have been amended to bring them in conformity with the Right of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. This act has been notified and 4% reservation has been provided to persons with disabilities in postal services under the government. Continuing further, 4% reservation in direct recruitment with effect from 15 January 2018 and 4% reservation in promotions for PWDs have been provided with effect from 17th May 2022. Instructions dated 12th April 2022 have been issued which allow reservations in promotions, enabling ministries to carry out regular promotions. 2.54 lakh backlog reserved vacancies have been filled up from 1st January 2016 to 31st December 2021. The persons belonging to economically weaker sections and not covered under the scheme of reservations for SC, ST, and OBCs have been extended the benefit of 10% reservation in direct recruitment in civil posts and services in Government of India. Promotions, historically, promotions of 8,600, more than 8,600 were made in Central Secretariat Service, Central Secretariat Stenographer Service, and Central Secretariat Clerical Services in various grades of these three services in June 2022, which was pending due to litigations, and promotions orders are now being issued regularly every month. All promotions have been updated, and EHRMS 2.0 is fully operationalized to ensure that all promotions are made in time. The citizen-centric governance and ease of living. The right to information online portal has been expanded to cover all public authorities. 2,571 public authorities have been aligned with this portal, which is a significant increase from just 96 public authorities aligned in 2013-14. The Act has been amended to provide for rules for tenure and service conditions of Central Information Commissioner and Information Commissioners of Central Information Commission and State Chief Information Commissioner, State Information Commissioners of Central State Information Commission. RTI portal on judgment and orders of courts and CICs has been launched. New benches of Central Administrative Tribunal have been established at Jammu and Srinagar. Exercise has been undertaken for consolidation of service-related instructions. 78 master circulars have been uploaded and they are being updated on real-time basis to ensure ease of retrieval, ease of usage, and ease of storage. Recruitment reforms. Interviews have been abolished for Group B non-gazetted and lower posts, leading to more transparency and objectivity. Switched from paper-based examinations to computer-based examination. This is the big switch to ensure transparency in examinations by Staff Selection Commission. Candidates have been allowed to join provisionally pending police verification, cutting down joining time formalities. Structural changes in the examination processes have been brought about by Staff Selection Commission to shorten the examination process from 1 year to 6 to 8 months. Regional languages have been introduced in Staff Selection Commission exams for various posts, leading to increased participation of youth for government jobs. Lateral entry has been introduced for inducting domain-based expertise at the level of Joint Secretary, Director, and Deputy Secretaries. 8 Joint Secretaries and 25 DS Director level are already in position. Redeployment of surplus staff management system has been launched for online monitoring of redeployment of staff. Rozgar Mela, through Rozgar Mela, central government and those state governments which are cooperating with the central government have distributed 10 lakh are going to distribute 10 lakh appointment letters in mission mode. Rozgar Melas are being organized across the country on a regular basis and are being launched by the Honorable Prime Minister. Coming to the anti-corruption framework, Prevention of Anti-Corruption Act has been amended with effect from 26 July 2018 to fill certain gaps in description and coverage of offenses of bribery. Standard operating procedure has been issued for seeking prior approval under Section 17A of the Act. Historic institution of Lokpal has been institutionalized and made operational. Probity portal has been developed to ensure probity amongst government servants. Protection of officers has been ensured against arbitrary harassment. The last slide, please. This is about capacity building and upgradation of infrastructure. As you can see, the new land and buildings at various places have been operationalized. E-governance scheme has been operationalized. The cadre restructuring for the CBI employees has been approved by the government, and new posts, 1,027 posts have been created in different ranks in CBI. Thank you.
And now I request Jayadubhe ma'am to give her presentation, please.
Thank you. Honorable Minister for Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, and Radha Chauhan ji, my colleagues on dais and the press and media. I am privileged to share 9 years achievement of the government on behalf of DRPG. The last 9 years was the age of transformation. The speed, scale and precision with which the projects have been delivered were really unprecedented. And the force behind all those achievements was the silent administrative reforms that have transformed the entire paradigm of governance. The key principles behind this reform was that we should empowering citizens' voice through a strong public grievance system, effective service delivery to the last mile without any interference of the government or government processes in the lives of the people, and nation first in all our decisions. A centralized public grievance redressal and monitoring system was established sometimes in 2006, but it was an unknown entity till 2014. It has got huge traction after 2014 when it became a single point of contact for all public grievances connecting central ministries and state governments. Almost 80,000 grievance officers have been mapped on the system. With the availability of regional languages and close collaboration with CSCs, Common Service Centers, the accessibility has been enhanced, and as a result, we can see about 1.24 crore people have reached the government through this platform, and out of this, 98% have been attended to successfully. Use one more thing, use of artificial intelligence has been first time introduced in CP-Gram that has helped to develop this tool, the grievances as a building block for reforms, and not only to analyzing pain points, but also to identify risk in the policies and programs and take preemptive actions. Next, this is the impact of the actions we have taken. You can see the average time has lowered to 16 days. Next. We have not only limited to the IT platform and provided an access to the people to the government also reached the people through the nationwide campaign as Prashashan Gaon Ki Or. This was organized in last 2 years from 19 to 25th December 2021 and 2022 during on the birth anniversary of our former Prime Minister Shri Atal Bihari Ji. In the week's time, 54 lakh public grievances have been redressed and more than 3 crore service delivery applications were attended to by the collective efforts of all districts in the country. Next. Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Public Administration was restructured in 2014. The purpose of this restructuring was to make this as a tool for effective implementation of our priority programs and services to the last mile. You can see the increase of participation, which was 74 districts in 2016, has reached to 743 districts in 2022. The Civil Services Day also got a makeover. It was just a one-day celebration. Now the 2-day conference has transformed the platform as where we exchange the ideas and discuss the policy, important contemporary subjects and policies. The DRPG is also promoting e-governance through National eGov Award and National eGov conferences. 157 awards have been given in last 9 years. 8 regional conferences have been held, and not only in those places which are already digitally advanced like Hyderabad and Mumbai, but efforts have also made to establish a greenfield ecosystem in the places like Katra and Shillong. Next. This is the Prime Minister in the Civil Services Day address last year. He mentioned that we need a platform where we need an ecosystem where we can exchange our learnings, best practices, and also the failures, so that a strong system of risk management can be developed. So with this, we have had the regional conferences, 23 regional conferences we held in last 9 years, where the best practices have been shared with the states. We also had 14 national good governance webinars, where the award-winning practices was discussed and shared with all other districts with a view of their replication. Benchmarking governance is the first time we have started this benchmarking governance at district and state level. Good governance, the states were ranked on various parameters, 50 key parameters across 10 sectors. The first time government has started collating data at district level through the District Good Governance Index. We have already published good governance reports, district good governance reports for Gujarat, Jammu and Kashmir and Arunachal Pradesh. UP and Maharashtra is in process. NESTA is the attempt to see the e-service penetration in the country, and the report says that there is an increase of 60% e-services in last 2 years. This is the ranking. We can see how the states are ranked in terms of e-services. Next. Now I'm going to discuss one of the most critical reforms in past 9 years, which have actually, it's an internal processes reform, and we have seen that so far the tendency was that our processes were developed basis our ability to deliver something on our capacity to do something, not from the citizen's point of view. So this outlook has now changed. We have reviewed our processes and identified 4 key areas which could make a larger difference in decision making. Those are delayering, delegation, desk officer system, and digitization. Through delayering, the channel of submissions were reviewed and rationalized within 4 levels. The objective was to shift from a process-oriented system to a result-oriented system. Use of e-office has transformed the accountability, transparency, and speed in decision making. Next. Here you can see that when from a few files in few thousand files in 2014, now we have more than 31 lakhs files, e-files in Central Secretariat. E-receipts have also gone up to 90%. So e-office has adopted in a big way in the Central Secretariat, and this is perhaps one of the most important reform that has transformed the governance. Special campaign on Swachhata at workplace and monitoring tendency was a new approach. A month-long special campaign started in 2021 and has it has gone bigger with voluntary participation of all offices from the country. Almost 1 lakh offices from length and breadth of country participated in this campaign. Within a month, we were able to clear more than 89 lakh square feet of space, which was productively utilized for recreation or for other purposes. And we also earned a revenue of rupees 300 crores with the collective efforts of all offices. Next. So with the 3 reforms which we have talked about, the special campaign, the increasing efficiency, this has led the revision in the Central Secretariat Manual of Office Procedure. The manual was revised in 2019 and again in 2022 to enable a digital march of the Central Secretariat. Next. You know, ad hocism, our Prime Minister always espouses for a long-term vision. Ad hocism shall be replaced with proper planning. Accordingly, we are working with a futuristic model of governance at 2047. TRPG has constituted working group and advisory group. The department has also connected with other innovators of the ecosystem. Research Park at IIT Madras joined the DRPG in developing this vision for future-ready India by connecting young faculty, young entrepreneurs, and young administrators on key sectoral themes. DRPG has also launched Abhinav portal to share district's vision at 100 years. The above reforms are aimed to make the administration more agile, professional, and innovative, which is capable of anticipating changes and responding accordingly. Thank you.
Over. So now we request Mathur sir to please give his presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, Secretary DOPT, Madam Chauhan, colleagues on the dais and members of the press. I would like to present one small presentation on achievements of Department of Pension and Pensioners Welfare. So all the reforms taken in this period have been welfare driven for pensioners, and this department went to the extent of doing a root cause analysis of all the problems which pensioners face, and then undertook a series of reforms. So the most important reform which we have done with respect to Jeevan Praman, because Jeevan Praman is an annual life certificate which has to be given by pensioners, and in case there is any default in that, the pension stops. So this was considered as a very high priority. So we started something called a digital life certificate, and digital life certificate also could be given in various ways, like through biometric means or through face authentication, which was recently launched. So last year in 2022, we had a DLC nationwide campaign, which was done in 37 cities of India. And in this campaign, the banks and all the stakeholders in different cities, through their awareness programs and everything, helped all the pensioners to give a life certificate through digital means. So this has been done since 2019. As a result of this, in 2019, we had 18.45 lakh DLCs of central government pensioners, which in 2022 rose to 38.41 lakhs. We roped in the Department of Posts, the Indian Post and Payment Bank, so that the postman, through the agency of almost 1,90,000 Gramin Dak Sevaks, could go to the doorstep of the pensioners and take the life certificates. As a result of that, the awareness grew, and now through a very ordinary mobile Android phone, a life certificate can be given from home. This year, the Department of Pension is targeting 100 cities. To reduce the number of grievances which come to the Department of Pension with respect to central government pensioners, this department was organizing the pre-retirement counseling workshops. In these workshops, we invite all the central government officers who are going to retire in the coming 6 months, and they are educated about all their pensionary benefits. And also we have a digital system which is end-to-end digitized called Bhavishya, how to fill up their forms on Bhavishya online. And so far, we have had 50 such pre-retirement counseling workshops, which has benefited some 7,800 retirees. The last one was held recently on 17th May at Vigyan Bhavan. We have also started a system of training of trainers with respect to CAPFs, because it is very difficult to go in remote areas and train them. So we have created a pool of almost 760 trainers in CAPFs who are able to give the similar kind of counseling to retiring officials. The Department of Pension has an online grievance filing system, which is called Grams, and in order to help pensioners further, the department opened a call center, which is managed by the department itself, and this was inaugurated in June 2019. And as of now, from 2019, we have been able to resolve 2,29,000 odd grievances. The average disposal time of pension grievances, which used to be 37 days, has now come down to 24 days. There's a monthly report system which we have started, which goes with respect to all the pending grievances, delay in PPOs, which goes every month to every secretary in the ministry so that action can be taken. Moving it further, we also have had a system of All India Pension Adalats, and because of All India Pension Adalats, we have had 8 so far, and some 17,224 cases of pensioners have got resolved. And as a result of this, we avoided having court cases with the pensioners and leading to further harassment. This department also started the integrated pensioners portal, on which all the 18 pension disbursing banks are being integrated. 3 have already integrated: it's SBI, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank. And from this portal itself, the pensioner can see monthly pension slips, how much pension has been credited, or their due drawn statement, status of the life certificate, issuance of Form 16, etc. This department took out Central Civil Services Pension Rules 2021 after revising the Central Civil Service Pension Rules 1975. So all the OMs which were taken out in the previous 50 years were reviewed and were included in the new Civil Services Pension Rules of 2021, and all the reforms with respect to pension rules are separately have been included in this. A similar exercise was done this year for Central Civil Service Extraordinary Pension Rules 2023, which actually benefit a lot of CAPFs. So they have also been reviewed and rationalized. Earlier, the rules were taken out in 1939, so we have revised them completely and now issued the Extraordinary Pension Rules 2023. This department also has a portal with respect to Anubhav, in which every retiring officer can lodge his experience of having worked in the government. So we are encouraging them by Anubhav Awards. So every year we are also having Anubhav Award ceremonies. अंत में राजभाषा कीर्ति पुरस्कार भी इस डिपार्टमेंट को मिला, जो कि लास्ट ईयर था, क्योंकि इन दोनों किताबों को हम लोग ने हिंदी में अनुवाद किया था, तो इनका भी एक इसका था। अचीवमेंट्स एट अ ग्लांस में ऑलरेडी मैं बोल चुका हूँ, उसमें जो है 38 लाख डिजिटल लाइफ सर्टिफिकेट्स हुए हैं, ये सारे मैंने अभी ऑलरेडी कवर कर लिए। दैट्स ऑल आई हैव टू से। थैंक यू।
Friends, I will share all the 3 presentations with you. Now I request the Honorable Minister, sir, to give his brief remarks. After that, floor will be open for question and answers.
Thank you, Shambhuji. As you rightly said, I think we need to distribute these booklets amongst all of us, because it will not be easy to remember by heart what is being said. And then I can request you to prepare, small write-ups also, or features accordingly, depending on your preference or your taste from time to time. Some of the old hands dealing with the Ministry of Personnel can put them to use according to their priorities. So I think what has been said, there are 2 ways of looking at it. As you saw, we have 3 major wings in the department, in the Ministry of Personnel. We have the DOPT, we have ARPG, we have the pensions and pensions welfare. That is one way of looking at it. But from the point of view of media, I think it'll be more significant if we look at it as the 2 main categories which have been sought to be addressed in these last 9 years. One is the youth, the other is the administrative officers. And you would realize that the hallmark of most of these reforms which have been said to you has been youth-centric. And to take up amongst them, if you go by priority, I think Rozgar Mela is one of the very new concepts introduced by the government. You used to have Rozgar Mela at the voluntary level, the NGOs doing it, but we never had it at the government level in an institutionalized manner. So in other words, I would say that Rozgar Mela has rather institutionalized the government's recruitment process. We have it once in a month, and the stakeholders are very much aware of it. The number of recruitment letters are also around 70,000. The total target as of now is 10 lakh. Then, of course, in the next phase, it will be different. And the recruitment letters are instantly distributed with the press of the button. And along with that, we also make available to them the Mission Karma Yogi Prarambh module so that they can train themselves, or at least they can educate themselves for the kind of assignment that they are going to take when they've entered into the government service for the first time. So that is, I think, a new beginning, a new concept. And also to make it a little less cumbersome and more convenient, as was being mentioned in the presentation there, the recruitment process has also been reduced, the timeline by the Staff Selection Commission. Earlier on, you had about 1.5 years or so. Now it's just 7-8 months. So we have tried to justify the use of technology and online. It's not that simply shifting over to online and then carrying on with the same timeline. So we have tried to indicate ourselves by proving that with the shift over to online, as we go on and on, we also make changes in the timeline. The abolition of interviews to provide a level playing field so that we don't have any complaints about any kind of discrimination or any kind of nepotism happening by way of interview marks. We have just made it a skill test now, a qualifying test. In fact, you just have to authenticate that the person is meant for the, does have the skill of the job that he's taking up. For example, if he's a government driver or a government cook or whatever. And self-attestation, one of the earliest reforms brought in soon after this government came in. And I think that was a dubious legacy of the British Empire, which is done away with. And as was being mentioned in the beginning, these are not only governance reforms, they go beyond that. They have a huge societal impact and huge socio-economic reforms, because now we are sending out a message that we look at, we are ready and we have the capacity to trust the youth of this country, unlike the colonial rulers. So these are the undertones of most of these reforms. Similarly, when you go in for the Rozgar Mela, we also try to put in a message of transparency happening. 45 centers across the country watching it happen, and the Prime Minister himself being involved in this. Then shifting over from the paper to the computer module, as was being mentioned by Mr. Sharma just now, is also in that direction of bringing more and more transparency to the youth, so that the youth should come out of that mindset that, look here you have to have some jugaad, some, what they say, jack or some kind of a recommendation or a launching pad. Anyone who has the capacity, who has put in sufficient amount of hard work, has the potential, has the aptitude, will get an opportunity. Similarly, at the official level, attempt has been made to, of course, we followed the mantra of Prime Minister zero tolerance against corruption very seriously right from the beginning, and I think you would bear me out that the government has walked the talk reasonably. But at the same time, it was also made out that in the pursuit of achieving the goal of zero tolerance, there would be no harassment or intimidation of the performing officers. And I think one example of that is the amendment that has been brought in the Prevention of Corruption Act, where the bribe giver is also equally culpable. So no citizen or mischief maker would have an opportunity to harass an officer with unsubstantiated complaints or charges. So that's one example I'm telling you about. And then, of course, the institutionalization of the performance of the capacity building is what is Mission Karma Yogi. So if you ask me, I think the greatest scale of reform has happened through A, Rozgar Mela, B, through Mission Karma Yogi, because it enables you to prepare for every assignment. Overnight, if you're transferred to another place, you have an I-God mechanism, you had the modules, you can prepare yourself before you take the charge. You don't have to spend 6 months just trying to learn what you are meant for, or you have to pretend that you know when you don't know. So at least you have the confidence that you've already trained yourself. And the other reforms have been directed to achieve the aim of a uniform citizen involvement. And the example of that is the PM Excellence Award. PM Excellence Award is no longer an award for an individual. It's an award for the best performing scheme happening anywhere in the country. And therefore the district is chosen on the basis of that. So you have 5-6 flagship programs, and the award is given to the one who have carried it forward in the best possible manner, achieving all the targets, reaching the last mile. So it's in fact a wide base now. And I think that is also a departure from what was happening in the colonial times. Even when the textbooks were written, they were written in the names of the authors. We don't follow that pattern now. We have now boards. So similarly, even the PM Excellence Award, of course, the recipient, the person individual receiving would be the collector, obviously, because he's running the district. But the award will be going to the entire team and in the name of a scheme. Similarly, the Department of Administrative Reforms, I mean, I'm trying to talk of the main point, because otherwise has also come out with a novel experiment of Swachhata. So all along, Swachhata meant cleaning of streets, corridors, and of course, building of the toilets, which has been a very successful initiative by the Honorable Prime Minister. We have about 12 crore female toilets built in this country, which has been a huge relief for some of the rural folks and rural women who didn't have a decent place for toilet. But that apart, I think the administrative reforms has made itself visible by generating revenue out of this Swachhata. More than 360 crore rupees deposited, I mean, just by disposing of the junk, because nobody ever attended to the electronic junk. And I think that's going to bring about a behavioral change in us. What was happening in the offices is that my typewriter goes bad, I just push it in the corner. My computer is out of order, I push it and get it replaced with a new computer. So I don't even care for what has happened to the computer that I have discarded. It might have lost its keyboard, the other functions may be intact. It might have lost its mouse, but I don't, which I will not do if it is my personal one at home. So, ye mera kya, uska kya, that I think behavior is also going to change. Own up the government property as your own. That realization has dawned now, because this, I mean, it's amazing. More than 360 crore just by disposing of all these computers and mobiles in the market where they assemble them and then sell them again. So that has been one, and 90 lakh square meter of space cleared off. You could build more than one malls over there. So what is happening? My chair is out of order, I push it to one corner. His chair, he also pushes the same. So one full corridor filled up with chairs. Koi 3 टांग की kursi, koi 2 टांग का मेज, and the entire corridor. We were amazed even in South Law, the entire corridor we cleared off. So I think this is, and that has vacated so much, and in that space they have very thoughtfully, at one place, I think they have brought up a restaurant by one of these leading chains. I don't know what is the name of the chain. वो मैम आपको पता है वो जो chain फ्रेंगी पानी का रेस्टोरेंट खोल दिया ऑफिस वालों के लिए, यानी इतनी सारी हमारे पास पोटेंशियल थी. So I heard of it for the first time, but I believe it's a very popular eater point. So this is, I think these are not only governance reforms, they are also creating a lot of socio-economic transformation and also behavioral change at the society level. Grievance, as ma'am mentioned, from 2 lakhs we have reached 20 lakhs. Because timelines have been followed, 97% disposal every week, not less than that. And now we have introduced human face. Immediately after the complaint is disposed of, somebody speaks to the complainant, because he may have been at the receiving end of the disposal, but not at the receiving end of satisfaction. So how best to counsel him and to explain to him. And human-friendly pension. Pension department was the least talked about in Government of India because I think in these 9 years, pension department has assumed the kind of importance of visibility which it never enjoyed before. Earlier, they thought it was, nobody was happy working in pension department and nobody was happy going to pension department. जाता कोई तभी था जब पेंशन रुक जाती थी और वहाँ से बैठता वो ही था जिसको और कई जगह नहीं लगाया या इसको पनिश करना. Now he enjoys a pride of place. We are the first, and I think that should be given credit and we should make a note of it. The pension department in Government of India is the first to have introduced face recognition technology, which was mostly used by the crime world. So because when we started off, we suggested that we should not put the elderly citizen into the inconvenience of getting a certificate for life from, or the life certificate from a doctor because that's very cruel. So we introduced biometry. But then last year when we were told that even the biometry was not reliable after a certain age, maybe after 75 or so, so we were the first to hit upon this idea. The pensioner just looks into the camera of his mobile, which is connected to Aadhaar card, and it just takes about 60 seconds, that is just exactly 1 minute. His face picture is picked up, Aadhaar verifies it, and places it at the table of the banker. So that is the kind of technology which has been put to use. Of course, it's been a very, nobody was even aware, leave alone reform, that the divorced, the separated daughters had no claim over their parents' pension or family pension unless she went to the court and got a judgment. So we've done away with that rule. Nobody was aware that there's a rule that if a person dies before completing 10 years of service, his family is not entitled. We've done away with that because you don't ask the person, you don't give him the choice to choose the timing of death. So what kind of, so all those things which were actually, legacy of the earlier rulers, because those times were different, their considerations were different. And it's been such a long list that we can go on and on, but I would just like to give you an opportunity to lead us the way you wish to, talk about some of these reforms, which one do. Of course, the child care leave is another reform from the point of view of women, because this government has been quite women-friendly. The child care leave has been extended to almost 6 months now, which was not happening earlier. And also Divyang-friendly. Now you are also have increased the attendance honorarium that you were giving. So these reforms have also been enacted with a huge degree of sensitivity, keeping into consideration certain aspects which were possibly overlooked in the past. And there was another act, I think, because the credit goes to Honorable Prime Minister that he's been open to, change some of those obsolete rules or do away with them, and also adapt them to the contemporary requirements. There was a rule in the pension department that if a person died, for 7 years, no family pension. I mean, if the person went missing, so either you have to recover his dead body and prove that he's died, or you have to wait for 7 years. But the kind of times that we today live in, maybe it had some relevance in 3 decades, 5 decades back, but now you have left extremist areas, you have terror-affected areas, kidnapping happening day and out, the government officials being at the receiving end of such episodes. So you cannot, allow the family to suffer in that harassment. That's the time when they require divorce. So we've done away with that as well. If the person gets recovered, of course, it can be adjusted in the salary or so. So I think we have, on the one hand, we have tried to bring in ease of governance, ease of living, try to ease the rules which existed. On the other hand, to do away with the rules which were not relevant to the contemporary times or which were actually creating inconvenience. And at the same time, we have also been very futuristic and forward-looking through Mission Karma Yogi, I got, as the Prime Minister often keeps reiterating, Amrit Kal. So how do we move forward in the next 25 years, making the best use of artificial intelligence and also institutionalizing the process of our capacity building, which is evident from the first ever capacity building commission, which was set up at the behest of Prime Minister Modi in the year 2021. And I would request that we would have infographics also today, particularly Rozgar Mela Mission Karmi Yogi. And since this is confined to the Ministry of Personnel, so I'm not getting into that, but from a wider perspective, I think one major headway made by Prime Minister Modi is that while he has institutionalized the process of government recruitment, also by hastening the promotion process, at the same time, he has also initiated the process of creating equal number of alternatives of employment and of livelihood outside the government job, which is evident from the startup, which is Pallav's domain. Today we are not talking of that. So we have increased by 300 times. Nobody actually realizes that, from 300 to 97 lakh, 97,000. So that is with a futuristic vision, being part of the global world and trying to match the global standards.
Thank you very much, sir. Now the floor is open for the questions, please. Yeah, Mr. Bhatia.
सर मैं श्रीकांत भाटिया हूँ। सर आपने अभी बताया कि पेंशन जो लोगों को मिलती है अभी बहुत इजी हो गया है, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है सर। डिपार्टमेंट में इतने कागज़ देने पड़ते हैं एक जो पेंशनर रिटायर होता है कि रिटायरमेंट से 3 महीने पहले और 3 साल बाद तक पेपर ही सबमिट करता रहता है। अगर सपोज़ उसका कोई गवर्नमेंट केस चल रहा है तो डिपार्टमेंट कहता है पहले गवर्नमेंट केस ख़त्म हो। अगर गवर्नमेंट केस उसकी पेंशन से रिलेटेड नहीं है तो कम से कम उसमें तो उसको डिसीजन लेना चाहिए। अगर डिपार्टमेंट में कोई इंक्वायरी चल रही तो इंक्वायरी को जल्दी ख़त्म करें। ऐसे कई सारे केस आते हैं सर, 5-5, 10-10 साल लग जाते हैं पेंशनर्स को। और सर आपने जो कहा कि इतने केसेस ग्रीवेंसेस ठीक हुए हैं, तो उसमें क्या किसी अधिकारी को भी रिस्पॉन्सिबल बनाया गया है कि इस अधिकारी और इस डिपार्टमेंट या इस क्लर्क के कारण उस पेंशनर को इतनी कठिनाई हुई और 2-2, 3-3 साल लग गए उसको पेंशन लेने में?
ये वैसे संजीव माथुर जी आपको प्रमाण सहित इसका उत्तर देंगे, लेकिन उससे पहले मैं ये कह दूं कि ये बात शायद कुछ साल पहले तक ऐसा ही था। इतना ही नहीं, पूरा 1 साल कागज़ इकट्ठे करने में लग जाते थे। और एक प्रोसीजर क्या था कि साल के शुरू में लिस्ट बनती थी कि इस साल कौन कौन से लोग रिटायर हो रहे हैं जनवरी में। तो जनवरी महीने से वो शुरू हो जाते थे अपने एनओसी लेने। यानी अगर मैं कानपुर में किसी लाइब्रेरी में था तो मैं लाइब्रेरी से एनओसी लाऊंगा, फिर मैं कहीं चंडीगढ़ में ट्रांसफ़र हो गया तो मैं किसी और विभाग में था तो उस वहाँ से एनओसी लाऊंगा। तो 1 साल लग जाता था एनओसी इकट्ठे करने में। और जो एम्प्लॉयर थे, जो उनके अफसरान अधिकारी, वो भी कहते हैं साहब ये इस साल रिटायर हो रहा है इसलिए इसको भी। सो वी वर लूजिंग द सर्विसेज ऑफ द पर्सन, वी वर लूजिंग द टाइम। हम मैन पावर भी गई, हमारा सारा वक्त उसका भी गया, अपना भी गया, इनकन्वीनियंस गया। इनफैक्ट बहुत दूर जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। आई टुक रिटायरमेंट वॉलंटरी ऑल ऑफ अ सडन। I got my pension after 8 months. So when I used to go again and again, I used to ask them, तो कहते साहब आपका सूची में नाम नहीं था, तो कसूर हमारा नहीं है, because you were not supposed to retire this year. So you've gone on your own, so you have to bear with it. So this is actually a matter of fact. But what has changed, Sanjeev will tell you, अब क्या है, सारा कुछ ऑनलाइन है। पेंशनर हैज़ दी, अब इट मे बी लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस जहाँ ऐसा हो रहा है। एक हमारा पूरा डिजिटलाइज पोर्टल है, पेंशनर उसको एक्सेस करके ये भी देख सकता है कि मेरा स्टेटस क्या है। सर्विस बुक भी डिजिटलाइज्ड है, उसको कहीं जाने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है। और इतना रोबस्ट मैकेनिज़्म है कि जिस दिन उसका लास्ट डे होता है, फेयरवेल के साथ ही उसके टेबल पर पीपीओ आ जाता है, जिसको हम इलेक्ट्रॉनिक पीपीओ कहते हैं। और आजकल इलेक्ट्रॉनिक पीपीओ ही नहीं, डिजिटल लॉकर भी उसके साथ है, उसको वो भी नहीं करना, वो सारा कुछ ऑटोमेटिक। संजीव जी ज़रा आप प्रोसीजर बता दो और ये भी बता दो कि आजकल क्या प्रक्रिया है।
तो आजकल ऐसा था कि जो हमारे डिपार्टमेंट ने एक भविष्य सॉफ्टवेयर बनाया है जो कि एंड टू एंड डिजिटाइज्ड है। एंड टू एंड डिजिटाइज का मतलब ये है कि जो पेंशनर है ऑनलाइन अपना पेपर्स फाइल करते हैं, और पेपर्स भी फाइल ये करने होते हैं, बस उनको अपना नॉमिनेशन और अपना बैंक अकाउंट देना होता है। उसके बाद जितना भी प्रोसीजर है उनके मोबाइल फ़ोन में अलर्ट्स आते हैं, जिस जिस स्टेज पे फाइल चलती है उसकी एक एग्जैक्ट टाइमलाइन फिक्स्ड है। कि 3 दिन इसके पास रहेगा, 2 दिन इसके पास रहेगा, और फाइनली पीओ तक वो पूरा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मूवमेंट होता है। पीओ के बाद में सेंट्रल पेंशन अकाउंट्स ऑफिस से इलेक्ट्रॉनिक एसएसए लग करके और इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली बैंक के पास चला जाता है। और ये जो पीपीओ की कॉपी है, अब इस वजह से ये इलेक्ट्रॉनिक पीपीओ बन गए हैं। तो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक पीपीओ डीजी लॉकर में भी चला जाता है और पेंशनर चाहे तो अपना उसमें से डाउनलोड भी कर सकते हैं। तो अभी वो ज़रूरत नहीं है कि उसको कि वो हर सीट पे मूव करे, अपना पेंशन फाइल को चेज़ करे। और 1,31,000 इलेक्ट्रॉनिक पीपीओज हमारे अभी तक जनरेट हो चुके हैं। तो अभी ये जो प्रॉब्लम थी पहले कि उसको अपने पेपर्स इधर उधर जाना पड़ता था, वो ख़त्म हो गई है।
उसमें बल्कि ये निवेदन रहेगा कि आपके माध्यम से इसका थोड़ा प्रचार प्रसार हो सके, क्योंकि जैसे ये कह रहे हैं कि अभी बहुत सारे लोगों के ध्यान में नहीं है ये, तो पेंशनर्स की संख्या दिन प्रतिदिन बढ़ती जा रही है। और विडंबना ये है कि आज सर्विंग से ज़्यादा पेंशनर्स हैं, जबकि 40 साल पहले उलट था। तो लगभग 70 लाख पेंशनर्स हैं भारत सरकार के। तो उस गति से, जिस गति से वो शिफ्ट ओवर होना चाहिए वो नहीं हो रहा। वो हो जाए तो उसके लिए आपका सहयोग चाहिए होगा ना।
इसमें एक चीज़ और बता दें कि पहले जो डिले होता था वो सर्विस बुक वेरिफिकेशन के लिए भी कभी कभी होता था। तो डिपार्टमेंट ने ये ऑर्डर निकाला कि 18 साल की सेवा जिसकी हो चुकी है उसका मैंडेटरी है सर्विस वेरिफिकेशन होना, और 5 साल रिटायरमेंट के पहले, जिससे कि जब वो रिटायरमेंट के टाइम आए तो पुरानी एंट्रीज ना खोजी जाएँ। ये इम्प्रूवमेंट एक है।
और श्रीकांत जी, इसमें एक और चीज़ ऐड करना चाहता हूँ कि अगर सर की इजाज़त हो, जैसे हम लोगों ने स्पेस सेक्टर को खोल दिया जून 2020 में, तो हमारा पेंशन अदालत होता है। तो पिछले महीने पेंशन अदालत विज्ञान भवन में, तो जितने स्टेक होल्डर्स रहते हैं, जितने अधिकारी रहते हैं जिस डिपार्टमेंट को, उनको बुलाया जाता है और उनसे तत्काल एपिलेट के बाद उनसे तत्काल जो वहाँ पे उस पेंशन का निपटारा किया जाता है। तो अगर चाहें सर तो अगली बार अगर पेंशन अदालत हो तो मीडिया के लिए ओपन रखा जाए सर।
तो पेंशन अदालत हमारी पिछले महीने हुई थी विज्ञान भवन से, और ये जब होती है तो इसमें हमने 70 शहरों को ऑनलाइन जोड़ा था जहाँ जहाँ अदालत चल रही थी। तो ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर वहाँ पे जा कर के और पेंशनर से भी बात करते हैं, जो अधिकारी वहाँ बैठे हैं उनसे बात करते हैं, और किस टाइप के केसेस आ रहे हैं उनका एक जनरल व्यू लिया जाता है। और अगर कुछ ऐसा हो कि पॉलिसी चेंज ज़रूरत हो तो हम लोग पॉलिसी भी उस हिसाब से चेंज करते आ रहे हैं। छोटे छोटे जो चेंजेस हुए हम लोग को अदालत से पता चला कि लोगों को ये प्रॉब्लम आती है।
अमलेंदु, हाँ।
जितने इम्प्लाई रिटायर हुए हैं अब तक, और उनको क्या क्या बेनिफिट सरकार ने
ये आपको फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री की ब्रीफिंग में पूछना पड़ेगा।
प्रदीप, टोटल
सर नमस्कार। वीआरएस स्कीम काफ़ी चर्चित रही है, और अगर ये आधिकारिक आंकड़ा आप दे पाएँ कि पिछले 9 साल में ऐसे जबरन रिटायर किए गए कितने अधिकारी हैं जो अयोग्यता के आधार पर उनको वीआरएस दिया गया।
ये आपका कहना ठीक है, डीओपीटी में इसका डाटा रहता है, वो भी आपको उपलब्ध करवा देंगे। लेकिन वो कोई 9 साल की रिफॉर्म्स के अंतर्गत नहीं हुआ, वो एक 56J है शायद। 56J एक ऑलरेडी, अब मैं भी सीखते सीखते थोड़ा सा सीख गया, तो वो RRs जो हैं पुराने उसी के तहत होता है। तो समय समय पर सरकार उस पर कॉल लेके करती है। वो एक ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग रूल है, उसका एग्जैक्ट क्या फिगर है वो आपको उपलब्ध करवा देंगे। ये चूँकि ये केंद्रित था ब्रीफिंग 9 साल के जो पहल हुई है या जो नए प्रावधान लाए गए हैं।
भारती।
Sir, we've learnt about the reforms that you've done over the 9 years of Modi government. Can you please spell out the agenda ahead? What are the reforms which are yet to be, which are on your mind and which are yet to be introduced?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question and relevant also. Immediately, as we are going to have, I think, day after only the Capacity Building Commission, a technical conclave, we look forward to extending the benefits of Mission Karm Yogi across the board. Because this was a new experiment, started off primarily from the civil servants, then gradually the Rozgar Mela got linked to it. So all the new appointees also getting the benefit of this provision. Now we are trying to chart out a plan whereby every section of government employees can have a module depending on their requirements. So that the capacity building gets institutionalized. Otherwise, even if there is no such institution or mechanism, each one of us has to, we are inherently, instinctively trained to build capacity. If tomorrow you give me some task which I am not aware of, as I was not aware of DOPT, but now I talk of DOPT. So that's a self-learning capacity. But we have an institutionalized capacity building mechanism through Mission Karmayogi. We have also engaged capacity building commission into that. We are trying to integrate all the training institutes across the country so that they don't work in silos. They can reinforce their and supplement their resources as well as the different kind of specialized success stories that they have achieved. We are also integrating the civil services training institute with the other institutes. Like for example, Labasana now also has exchange programs and interactive programs with the Forest Institute, which is located in the same vicinity. Dehradun is not much interacted earlier. We are now having interactive programs in the military academy because now we have entered into the unified command era also. And focus on the new entrants. This Rozgar Mela, another, because we are also, trying to improvise it after each time that every successive turn. So this, like Mission Karmayogi Prarambha was a later addition. Because we are also conscious of the fact that those entering the services now have very important 25 years to put in. This Amrit Kal, which the Honorable Prime Minister says, actually belongs to them. So their capacity building with a futuristic, we have also set up Vision 2047. Again, ARPG is dealing with that to set up, to research into the indices which would be possibly at that time. What will be the role of civil servant? How much role? Whether a role or not? How much the artificial intelligence will take over? Now, like, for example, today pensioner is looking into his mobile and he's generating the life certificate. Tomorrow he may look into his mobile and he may get the pension amount debited into his account. So the entire thing may be taken over by the AI. So we are actually very seriously working on that, and I think this Mission Karmayogi going to the next level and capacity building commission coming in are in that direction.
Thank you, Minister, for doing this. This is Rishabh from Times Now. So we spoke about IAS being trained and Lavasa having exchange programs and all that, but what about grade 4 employees? We have seen a Balasore kind of accident just last week. So what is ministry doing to train the grade 4 employees to ensure like Balasore kind of incident can be stopped manually? And it's been 1 week now and we still don't know that if it was a sabotage or a technical failure. So what is ministry doing to train the grade 4 employees?
No, I'm sorry, I'll not be getting into that because I don't have the habit of speaking out of turn. So I'll not be talking about Balasore, and nor is this briefing dedicated to that. I'm sure the Ministry of Railways and the Home Ministry who are looking into it would be better positioned to reply to your question. So I'm sorry if I'm not able to make news for you. But nevertheless, now coming back to my part of the question, which you said a grade 4 training in general, we've already into that. Chintan Shivar is one experiment also. I think that is also one thing which should have been highlighted, which was Prime Minister's with the personal intervention introduced, where breaking of the hierarchy barriers happens. And so that now there's a very little distinction between the public sector and the private sector. And if we have to grow further, we have to go in a synergized manner, in an integrated manner. And there we are now making it a regular feature, right from the lowest rung up to the secretary and the minister. They sit together on the common table and have a free exchange of ideas, views, complaints, grievances, compliments, everything. So, and preferably they try to spend the time outside the office premises. So that has been a very successful experiment. I would rather like some of you friends to interview those grade 4 who have been. And yes, the most interesting part is that the entire program is conducted by grade 4. The secretary, the minister, they are all part of the audience, that to the lower rung audience. So they run the show. So we are already, Prime Minister is very keen to move in that direction.
सर एक छोटा सा सवाल था, मुझे नहीं पता कि आपके डिपार्टमेंट से है क्या, किसी सांसद की सदस्यता चली जाती है किसी कोर्ट ऑर्डर से, या किसी सरकारी अधिकारी को सजा मिलती है, उसको जेल हो जाता है या किसी कर्मचारी को जेल हो जाता है, तो उसका प्रभाव उसकी पेंशन पर भी पड़ता है? सपोज उसकी लाइफ अगर 10 साल और है, या जब तक उसकी डेथ हो जाती है किसी सरकारी कर्मचारी की ड्यूरिंग जेल, तो क्या उसका पेंशन भी बंद हो जाता है क्या सर?
बेसिकली ये जो सांसदों की पेंशन इनके दायरे में नहीं आती, ये ज़्यादा डील कर रहे हैं जो गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट्स हैं, लेकिन वो प्रावधान जरूर हैं जो आपने कहा दूसरा पहलू कि भाई अगर जेल हो जाए, तो आप बता दीजिए थोड़ा सा उसके अलग अलग स्टेजेस पे क्या होता है।
इसमें पेंशन का ये है कि अगर कोई एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्शन लिया गया है और किसी को मान लीजिए कि अगर डिसमिस कर दिया गया है कुछ है,
इसमें ऐसा
तो
है,
उसमें
नहीं ये वो तो हुआ वॉलंटरी, वो एक एस्पेक्ट है, वो भी एक एस्पेक्ट है कि नहीं, एक एस्पेक्ट ये भी है जो ये बता रहे हैं कि अगर कई बार मान लीजिए सरकार बर्खास्त करती है चाहे कोर्ट के केस के बाद, तो उसकी क्या नौयत है जजमेंट की, जो जजमेंट में कई बार वाजे कर दिया जाता है कि इसको कोई एमोल्यूमेंट्स नहीं देने, इसको बिल्कुल ही कुछ नहीं देना। कई बार होता है कि सिर्फ बेसिक पेंशन देनी, इसका बाद में, तो उसमें भी कोर्ट की ही जजमेंट में वो इनहेरिट होता है। लेकिन आपका ये भी कहना है कि कोर्ट की जजमेंट के बाद अगर वो जेल में रहता है तो जेल में वही स्टेटस उसका रहेगा, और अगर उसकी मृत्यु हो जाती है तो क्या होगा? मुझे लगता है वही होगा जैसे नॉर्मल केस, फिर भी आप बताएं।
इसमें ऐसा है कि अगर मान लीजिए कि इस तरह का कुछ होता है इंसिडेंट, तो कंपैशनेट अलाउंस दिया जाता है। अब ये जो है, जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव अथॉरिटी है जो डिपार्टमेंट में, उनके दायरे में आता है कि कितनी सीरियस नेचर का है, कैसा है, और उस हिसाब से कंपैशनेट अलाउंस दिया जा सकता है। अभी इसमें भी, क्योंकि आपने पूछा तो बताते हैं, इसमें भी एक इम्प्रूवमेंट ये आया है कि अगर कंपैशनेट अलाउंस किसी को मिल रहा होता था, तो जब जो रिवीजन होता था, जैसे पे कमीशन का आया रिवीजन हुआ, तो उसमें उनका वो बढ़ाया नहीं जाता था, उनका बस बेस लेवल पे था। अब उसमें भी उनको भी किया गया। अच्छा, अगर उसकी डेथ हो जाती है तो फैमिली पेंशन मिलेगी। फैमिली पेंशन 30% ऑफ द लास्ट पे ड्रॉन जो है वो उसको मिलेगी, बट प्रोवाइडेड उसको पेंशन मिल रही हो या कंपैशन मिल रहा। अगर उसको पेंशन बंद कर दी गई एज सज़ा के तौर पे, तो फिर फैमिली पेंशन उसमें नहीं होता। अगर पेंशन नहीं है तो फिर फैमिली पेंशन नहीं है। फैमिली पेंशन एमिनेट्स फ्रॉम पेंशन। अगर किसी को पेंशन मिल रही है तो 30% ऑफ द लास्ट पे ड्रॉन मिलता है।
124 प्लीज।
गुड आफ्टरनून सर, कपिल गौड दिस साइड फ्रॉम भारत एक्सप्रेस न्यूज़ चैनल। सर, जीरो टॉलरेंस की आपने अभी बात की पॉलिसी की, जीरो टॉलरेंस पॉलिसी अगेंस्ट करप्शन, तो आपने बताया कि ना सिर्फ लेने वाला बल्कि देने वाले पर भी सख्त कार्रवाई की जाएगी। तो क्या इस जीरो टॉलरेंस पॉलिसी के अंतर्गत में कुछ ऐसे और भी स्टेप्स मतलब बनाए जाएंगे या फिर लिए जाएंगे कि सच में प्रैक्टिकल ऑन द ग्राउंड जो करप्शन जो है वो ख़त्म हो जाए? सर,
ये सवाल भी कठिन है और उसका उत्तर भी कठिन है, क्योंकि वो the menace of corruption is too serious to be left to government alone. इसमें जब तक सामाजिक सोच में बदलाव नहीं आएगा, and ultimately we have that self-esteem of not getting corrupted or being incorruptible. और हम अपनी तरफ से तो बड़े पैशन के साथ कोशिश कर रहे हैं, आप सच पूछिए, क्योंकि कई बार बड़ा होता है कि इतना सारी सरकार कर रही है और मोदी जी कितना इसमें। डीबीटी एक बहुत बड़ा एक नया इनिशिएटिव था कि जो बिचौली है उसको समाप्त कर दिया जाए। तो चूँकि मैं 2-3 राज्यों में घूमता हूँ, तो एक मैं देहाती क्षेत्र में गया और मुझे बहुत ठेस पहुँची, और फिर मैंने बुला के उससे बात काउंसलिंग करने की कोशिश की एक बेचारे सज्जन से। उसको डीबीटी का जो पैसा आता था उसमें से वो उतना ही निकाल के बैंक से बीडीओ को दे देता था जितना वो पहले दिया करता था। बेचारे की मानसिकता में इस तरह से वो धंस गया था। तो वो धीरे धीरे एक पीढ़ी लगेगी, लेकिन उस दिशा में हम चल पड़े हैं, क्योंकि लोगों को आदत हो गई थी कि साहब अगर मुझे पेमेंट हुई है तो वो तो मैंने वैसे ही निकाल के इतने रख देने हैं। तो वो बेचारा डीबीटी के बावजूद भी वो उसमें से बैंक से निकाल के उसको, तो फिर उसको बुलाया कि भाई साहब मोदी जी ने कितने जज्बात के साथ ये किया है, तो धीरे धीरे इसमें से तो वो समय लगेगा, वो तो सामाजिक स्तर पर भी। लेकिन जब तक वो नहीं होता तब तक अब ये जो प्रावधान है कि ब्राइब गिवर को, वो इसलिए कि बहुत सारे अधिकारियों को या सरकारी कर्मियों को अनुचित परेशान किया जाता था। अगर किसी को टेंडर नहीं मिला तो उसने लगा दिया साहब मेरे से पैसे मांगे थे या मैंने दिए थे। अब उसको प्रमाणित करना होगा कि दिए थे, और प्रमाणित करता तो फिर खुद भी कसूरवार होता है। तो थोड़े चेक्स बैलेंस लाने की कोशिश की गई है।
Any more question, please? Yeah.
Sir, you mentioned about the way forward of the ministry going. You also mentioned that how Prime Minister is very open towards those rules that have been there for a very long time and that have become obsolete. Can you mention such rules which have been laid down till now? Because you mentioned about the way forward of the ministry, but what are those, if you can just point out a few, sir?
No, actually, there are many. There are more than, overall, if you take, there are more than 1,600 which have been done away so far in 9 years, almost close to 2,000 rules which have been done away. Many of them are from the British Empire, 200 years old. Many of them amended, like for example, Indian Forest Act. This is 1927. And when this was pointed out, the Honorable Prime Minister was very supportive, he brought in an amendment. The contradiction was that India does a business of about 5,000 to 6,000 crore in agarbatti alone. And the entire agarbatti was coming from Korea, Vietnam and other countries. Whereas we have so much of bamboo at our backyard. But that was a prohibited item under Forest Act. So that rule was amended, homegrown bamboo brought out of that provision. This was done about 4 years back. Similarly, there were other rules which might have been relevant at that point in time or which might have also had some colonial flavor in that. Like for example, if the toilet remains unclean in the office premises, the attendant is liable to be sent to prison. This was about 200 years ago. Maybe that it was a feudal government that time, and also because you didn't have the sanitary facilities, so the implications of not proper cleaning time you had were different. So many of the host of them, and the process is still going on. I think this will be one government which will not take pride in bringing in new rules. They are taking pride in doing away with the rules which had gone obsolete, like these pension rules also. Many of them, maybe at that time they were, framed like that because the situations were different. So I think many of them, but the point is, which makes this government distinct from the other governments, that nobody ever revisited these rules. It's at the behest of Prime Minister Modi, personally. He's been very keen to look into every rule which has been there for several decades, more so which has been there since pre-independence era. And then every ministry has been asked to revisit. Most of these rules were framed and left like that without having ever revisited. So many of the functionaries were not even aware that a rule like this exists.
सर मैं बीराज बाबुल हूँ आकलन न्यूज़पेपर से। एक छोटा सा सवाल है, आपके मंत्रालय से जुड़ा हुआ नहीं है लेकिन बहुत गंभीर है मामला, कि राजनेताओं को क्यों छूट दी गई है कि सांसद बनेंगे, विधायक बनेंगे, पार्षद बनेंगे, 3 पेंशन लेने का अधिकार उनको क्यों दिया गया है? राजनेता जो भी बनते हैं, विधायक, MP या पार्षद, वो तीनों पेंशन उठाते हैं। तो इस पर सर विचार करें, क्योंकि आप PMO से जुड़े हुए हैं और प्रधानमंत्री बहुत सारा काम 9 साल में किए हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि इस पर सर विचार होना चाहिए।
आपका सवाल अभी आधा है, उसमें मैं आधा और जोड़ दूं। जो पंजाब में सरकार थी पिछली, वहाँ तो एक ऐसा कानून था कि जितनी बार MLA बनोगे उतनी बार पेंशन मिलती थी।
अच्छा,
अभी उसको हटा दिया गया, तो उतने गुना पेंशन। जहाँ भी कुछ इस तरह की
इस पर विचार किया जाए सर,
जहाँ कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन है, कोशिश हो रही है उसको रिविजिट करने की।
Friends, you are all requested to please join at the 4th floor for the high tea. Thank you. Hello. हाँ. अच्छा, ये तो अभी तो वहीं पे है यार। ठीक। हाँ?